There's been a lot of talk about Logan Paul lately, and whether or not he's a scam artist and whether or not he's committed financial crimes. Now, the answer to question number one, yeah, pretty much he's a scam artist. And then the answer to number two, probably. And now some of you are thinking, wait, Sean, it's been like a little while since this all dropped. Why just now are you getting to this? Well, I've been busy doing lawyer stuff. So what exactly did Logan Paul do? Well, he started a game based around cryptocurrency and NFTs, which already makes it sound kind of sketchy.
And this project that I have is that fresh take. September 1st, cryptozoo.co. I'm going to tease it. That's all I'm going to say about it now. Because we're finishing up the development, but I am so excited about this project. It's so fun. It provides a yield with a token, can earn you money, and as my game.
You keep using and you just did it again. You keep using a word there, game. You're not using like a project. It's a game.
It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
So
I really, really do believe it is going to be the catalyst for a lot of young people getting into crypto.
So it's a game that you can also make money as you play it. But it's also some weird Pokemon type thing, and kids are playing it, and yet it still involves NFTs and cryptocurrency. And you don't see this as a red flag, but as a way for kids to learn about and get involved in the process. Yeah, it still kind of sounds like a scam. You're not really convincing me here, Logan. Now, I will also comment, bro, I don't know who you are, but I think you've got a great career in trying to convince a room full of college kids that your MLM presentation isn't technically a pyramid scheme, 'cause reasons. So, you keep doing what you're doing, King. Journalist Stephen Findison, who operates on YouTube under the name CoffeeZilla, has been, for a while now, investigating the various scams, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs being pushed by various social media persons and exposing them for what they are. Well, he released a 3-part series on Logan Paul and CryptoZoo. In fact, CoffeeZilla does such a great job of explaining how CryptoZoo operates, I'm going to leave it to him because I can't do any better.
This is how it was supposed to work. You started by buying this crypto token called Zoo, which is their in-game currency, and you use Zoo coins to then buy egg NFTs, which you can then hatch to become animals. You then can breed those two animals to become hybrid animals. For example, if you breed a gorilla and a kitten, you get a gore kitty. And the more rare the NFT, the higher the daily yield of Zoo tokens that animal earns you every day. Theoretically, it works almost like passive income. You can then burn your animal NFTs to release the Zoo they earned back to you, and from there you can invest it into eggs or just cash out.
So Logan promised and pushed CryptoZoo. You could almost say he pumped it in August of 2021. Now where we're at, well, it seems like he's kind of dumped it, if you were. We have a bunch of people who have paid money and have nothing to show for it. There have been people who have been just trading in the Zoo coin and speculating in that alone. We also have people who have held onto their eggs. There's nothing they can do with those. There are some people, and this is not a lot, who are able to hatch their eggs and play around and make some of these Cronenberg animals that were hand-drawn. Hand-drawn in Photoshop, but whatever. Logan, I know. You gotta shill where you can shill, baby. I get it. And then you have the people who saw, wow, when you pump this, and then by nothing happening, you dumped this. You can almost call that a pump and dump. Sold their Zoo stuff, whether it's the coin, an egg, or whatever it was, at a loss. So for those of you keeping score at home, we're about 18 months into the supposed launch of this game, and it don't work. According to CoffeeZilla, through his own research in interviewing the victims and also chasing through what's going on the blockchain, about $7.7 million is missing. Logan claims that the developers took the codes and all the work that was done and disappeared with some of the money. The developers, on the other hand, are claiming that Logan Paul's never paid them, so they're not going to give up the work. When people pay you for something and you don't deliver on that good or service you promised, that's called fraud. And many people are going to seek civil action against Logan Paul for a number of actions, including fraud, breach of contract, deceptive trade practices, negligence, and misrepresentation, among other things. One such attorney leading the charge right now is my fellow YouTuber, Attorney Tom, who you can find here. He announced the legal action he's taking against Logan Paul in the state of Delaware, where Logan's got all this stuff incorporated, and is launching claims against the arbitration clauses stuck into CryptoZoo's terms of service, and trying to go after Logan so people can get their money back. And while the specter of a multi-million-dollar lawsuit from an attorney like Tom, who's a shark, sounds pretty scary, there's something even worse. Criminal charges. Those sound 100 times scarier. Why? Well, because you can go to prison with those. So what kind of charges is Logan facing? Well, there's the old reliable federal wire fraud, mail fraud, commodities fraud, conspiracy to commit any number of those crimes, structuring, money laundering, and tax evasion. Now, it's those last three you might sit there and say, why would he be guilty of those? Well, if you steal money from people as part of a scam, well, you got to do something with it. So you're going to try to launder the money. And when you launder the money, well, then you got to do something with it. You got to put it somewhere. You're probably going to put it in a bank or something like that. All right? Well, you're going to have to structure it to hide and avoid reporting. Okay. Well, now you've done all of that. You can't just have the money in your hands because, well, the IRS and the government are going to say, hey, where'd you get a couple $1 million? So you're not going to claim it on your taxes. So you can see money laundering leads to structuring, which leads to tax evasion. So they might not be the typical crimes you would think of, but those are three more that are probably being investigated. And there might be quite a few more. I am not a white-collar expert, but these are the things that you're typically going to run into when you run into a massive scam like this. So who might be investigating Logan? Well, obviously it's going to be the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Those are going to be like 1 and 2. We get that. But there's going to be other ones you may not have thought about, such as the Federal Trade Commission. And also the Commodities and Futures and Trading Commission. Then finally, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, also known as FinCEN, who works for the Treasury Department. There might be other groups. Even the SEC might get involved just based on the way they've promised things. Well, maybe they've created a security. We don't know. But what's the difference between a commodity and security? Well, that's a whole nother topic for another time. But there is a Supreme Court case that kind of lays out what happens in that and how you can determine what is a security. Now, does this mean Logan is toast? No, not at all. Never say never. You know, one thing you can do to try to show that he's not a con man and he really wanted to fix CryptoZoo and didn't blow everybody off and try to make another NFT. Because that would be something a con man does.
And one day I was at dinner in Puerto Rico, and I don't know how else to describe this. I felt the finger of God touch the most creative part of my brain and activate me in a way I had never been activated before. For a creative, this is very exciting. I'm a creative at heart. It's how I make all my content, conceptualize all my ideas. And I would think of an idea and another idea would come and another idea would come, and I came up and conceptualized this project that I believed was my magnum opus. During this half of last year, when you saw me traveling everywhere in the world with the biggest smile on my face, it was because I was doing this project that I'm about to show you. Little preface, little context, just a little. It's called 99 Originals. You may have seen me running around with this little Polaroid camera. Right?
What's it for? Why has he always got that thing?
And yes, it's an NFT project. But it's so much more. It's so much more.
You know, I wish I was joking about that, but he really did say all this part right through 2022. And I mean, listening to all that, it sounds like you didn't give two shits about CryptoZoo after a while. It sounds like you completely ignored everything else to focus on your stupid little Polaroid project.
It's a little vulnerable for me. Again, this is a piece of my life. I sacrificed everything that I had for this project. You could not get a hold of me.
So you've lost everything. Well, golly gee willikers, I'm pretty sure CoffeeZilla's talked to a lot of, working class people and regular people out there who have lost everything. Literally everything. And, unlike you, don't have a net worth of $245 million. I mean, these people have lost everything. Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars based on your bullshit scam. I mean, it's a good thing you haven't uploaded any of this to YouTube and I was able to download it and now it's preserved for posterity and, it could be used against you in court. I mean, really, that's a good thing it hasn't happened. Now, there are other people out there on YouTube right now who have put forward credible theories that Logan Paul has already been working with the federal government and trying to work out some sort of pre-indictment plan where he has an intervention with the Department of Justice to cooperate with them, make things right, and then he avoids prosecution by being an unindicted co-conspirator and cooperating later down the road. Now, that part sounds like snitching, and it is. But if you're facing a lot of time on all those charges I just listed, you might snitch too. But that gets to the second, thing of he's had to explain to the FBI and DOJ and other law enforcement officials this entire pyramid scheme, but it's totally not a pyramid scheme, and it's totally not sketchy. I mean, that would have been a hell of a conversation to sit in on. Now, do I think that's happened? No. And if I'm wrong, certainly I'm willing to eat the crow, so we'll see. But I don't think it's happened, and there's a couple reasons why. Well, number one, Logan Paul is an idiot. And by idiot, I mean really big, dumb fucking idiot. Number two, nobody in their right mind would have told him to start other projects and bailing out of Zoo in the middle of everything. I mean, this idea that he started this another NFT in the middle of the dumpster fire that was going on, certainly that was not run by any competent counsel, and if it was, no, they should not have told him to do that. And the third thing is his current plan to make things right is a complete joke.
To me, so I'd like to announce my 3-step plan moving forward. Step 1, Jeff and I are going to burn our Zoo tokens so we have no financial upside in the game and it will add value to holder tokens. Step 2, we want to offer a rewards program for players who are disappointed in the status of the game. So essentially you're going to be able to burn your base egg or your base animal for the mint price, which was 0.1 ETH or the equivalent in BNB. I am personally committing 1,000 ETH to this, which is about $1.3 million right now for players who want to get out. And then step 3, obviously finish and deliver the game as outlined in the white paper by completing the egg bridge from ETH to BSC for base animals and base eggs, completing the marketplace, and obviously completing the releasing your animals into the wild to accrue your yield function.
Now, when you hear it on its face, yes, he's setting aside $1.3 million, which, wow, he sounds like a nice guy. And he will refund you your egg money. Kind of. Why do I say kind of? Well, if you remember back at the beginning, in August of 2021, he said it's going to be 0.1 ETH. 0.1 Ethereum. Okay, well, at that time, it was $350. Not so much now. 0.1 ETH is about $150. And if you don't know this, crypto took a beating in the past 2 years. A lot of people have lost money. Even Bitcoin took a lot of hurting. But what happened in addition to that is a ton of crypto coins crashed and burned and fell apart, and it drove things down even further because people are losing confidence. So you're going to lose about $200 on this. It's not really a refund. I mean, it's like a partial, but still sounds like a fuck you at the end of the day. The problem with this is only the egg holders and people who have hatched their eggs are going to recover anything. If you've already had a hybrid, if you're just holding Zoo coin, or if you said, screw it, I'm bailing out of this mess, well, you get nothing based upon this offer. So while you're going to refund the $1.3 million, what about the other $6.4 million roughly that's missing? I got a really good idea, though. Because you did that 99 originals, and I think there's still even more NFTs coming out on that. You're taking your little fucking stupid little Polaroids. Why don't you do a couple more of those and let these people who are left holding the bag, well, and are going to have this bullshit game that they aren't really going to make the money on that they were promised, why don't you let them, like, trade those for the NFTs that apparently are making money so far, which 99 originals apparently seems to work, but, you know, knock on wood, healthily knock on wood, because who knows when the rug gets pulled out from underneath that world. Well, no, he's not going to do that. Why? Well, because he's actually making money. And like a greedy fuck, you know, scammers be scamming. So can Logan avoid all the criminal troubles and just face Attorney Tom reaming him out with a pickaxe at the end of the day? Sure, that could happen. But is that going to be guaranteed? No. Why? Well, think about what we just went through. FTX. The billions and billions of dollars that just disappeared. The amount of money people have lost. Regular people. And now the U.S. government is bearing down on Sam Bankman-Fried. There's going to be a U.S. attorney out there who would lick their lips at the opportunity to take somebody like Logan Paul, some entitled, douchebag, lily-white rich kid who fucks around with people, does all this sketchy stuff, and has a great opportunity to nail his ass to the wall. I mean, this is a very enticing target. So that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed what you've seen here, please give me a like. Subscribe certainly wouldn't hurt either. Questions or comments below. What do you think is going to happen to Logan? Do you think it was a scam? Do you think he really just got caught up in something and was taken advantage by other people? Or do you really think he wanted to try something really cool, got in over his head, and it's just not working out? Curious to hear what you think. So I think we'll have more than enough time to address this going forward. Certainly with the lawsuits, they're going to end up going their own way. And if he does have criminal charges, well, certainly we'll be revisiting this topic again. So remember, until next time, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Even if you're Logan Paul, even if you're doing sketchy stuff, not guilty yet.